What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Sitting Courtside, episode 61. We're back with live basketball. Of course, it's your boy,
Woo!
Jerry D.
And it's your boy Dante T.
Wait, okay. Yeah. That's got a nice
Hey,
look.
first episode with basketball back. We're excited. We're ready to go, Jerry. I'm
Absolutely.
amped, baby. I'm amped.
As you should be. There's been a lot of good games, a lot of surprises, a lot of great individual player
Mhm.
performances. Not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive headfirst into this thing with the negative news, which would be Steph Curry's ankle injury,
Yep.
which he will be sidelined for a handful of games, according to some of the reports. That could be 3 to 5, that could be 3 to 10. Who really knows? But let's just start out with, are the Warriors in trouble? Because we already have a lot of doubts that, between you and I at least, that we don't think the Warriors are going to be a playoff team,
Mhm.
maybe play-in team if they're lucky, and we're talking playing in the 9-10 game first, and then the 7-8 seed games or whatever. But how do you feel about the Warriors and Steph possibly missing, seems like 3 to double-digit games or so?
Steph Curry getting hurt is the worst thing that could happen to Golden State. I know, Steve Curry's out here saying this is the most depth that he's had, while in Golden State and stuff
And,
like that. Is saying
and
this.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that. I don't believe it at all. When I first read that quote, I was like, I don't think I can get on board with that one. But I to each their own. The Warriors, they're 2-1 right now. Started the year 2-1. I believe that they dropped the first game they dropped was to the Clippers this past Sunday. I believe that's the game that Steph Curry got hurt.
Yep.
Thank God it's only a short-term injury. Like you said, it should only be a few games. He's going to get reevaluated on Friday. Doesn't really mean he's going to play on Friday. That means, we'll get an update on him there. But I mean, Steve Kerr, he's the one hyping up his depth. He better hope that they show up because the Warriors as a team, especially now that Clay's gone. I don't even know if it really would have made too much of a difference if Clay was there. They go as far as Steph takes them. You got guys like Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't had who's had a decent start to
He's,
the year. He's averaging
he's leading
19
the team in
points.
scoring. Yeah.
I had 29 points last game. Obviously, guys like Kuminga, Draymond, like you still have guys there. Looney, Buddy Hield, second best shooter of this decade behind Steph Curry, supposedly. So, they should, maybe be able to hold their own while Steph is gone. It's still early in the season, so teams are still kind of, building their chemistry up, getting going. So, maybe they can, survive while Steph is gone. But again, Lane got it short term because long term, this team is nothing without Steph. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a little worried about dropping these few games since we personally don't think they're going to get to the playoffs outright.
Oh, yeah. Winning games, especially early on, whether it's early, middle, later in the season, doesn't
Yeah,
matter. These wins are important for a team
they're
like Golden
important. They
State.
matter. Even if
Mm-hmm.
it is single digit games right now, I'm just kind of like, dude, the Warriors are a team that can't fall behind in any type of way. Just like how we saw
Right.
last year when the Rockets were gaining on them the entire time for that playing spot, where these little games where everybody's just kind of trying to, fill out process. Oh man, we got all this depth now. We added DeAnthony Melton, Buddy
Right.
Hield, and those guys. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. But Steph missing out these games kind of worries me a little bit. Not to the point where I'm gonna just hit the button and say their season's done, obviously, because again,
Right.
it's a single digit amount of games they're
Very
winning.
early.
I'm definitely kind of like, the Warriors can't. They should win their next two, kind of thing. Like they need to win 2 of the 5 games. Let's say if he misses those. So
Well, let's. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Their next 2 games are lucky for them, back to back against New Orleans. Tonight,
winnable games.
Tuesday the 29th, and Wednesday the 30th, they play New Orleans. On Saturday, November 2nd, they play the Rockets, and then they play Washington and the Celtics next week. So, a mix of teams. The Pelicans, they're dealing with injuries of their own.
They
DeJounte
should
Murray
split.
has his fractured hand. I think that's a split right there for sure.
They should split.
Zion hasn't played every single game this year either. Rockets are a younger team, so hope maybe you can get some a leg up on them there, and you go from there. So
Yeah.
it's tough whether it's a few games or an extended period of time missing someone like Steph Curry, but this is you need to at least make up for his loss or like stay keep your head above
Yeah,
water.
you
I
got to
think is
stay
the best way.
competitive. I mean, like we mentioned, Andrew Wiggins is currently leading the team in scoring right now, which is
Yeah, all
great
credit to
news
him.
because last
Yep.
year he kind of fell off out of nowhere. So I'm kind of hoping that he gets back into his own instead of being a tradable piece for a bag of potato chips or a box of cookies, whatever Stephen A said.
Yep.
So kind of him getting back into this. Hell, he was an all-star that year. So his all-star form, to be that two-way forward and see what he can do. And they still got plenty of pieces, to make things work. They are deep. I don't know if it's the deepest team, but yeah, they are pretty deep. So maybe they could find a way to stay relevant out west for the time being.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see. The West is tough, Jerry, as we know. So, like we
Yeah.
said, every game matters.
Speaking of a tough Western Conference, there's a team at the top of the Western Conference right now, which I am so happy.
Get it out of your system, Jerry.
And I
Get it
just
out of your
it's
system.
it's early, so I'm not gonna jump off the
Hey,
boat
no,
quite yet.
floor is yours. Please go
But hey,
crazy.
man, the LA Lakers are 3-1 through their first 4 games.
Looking good. A good 3-1, I'd
J,
say.
JJ Redick, like over the summer we talked about it. I wasn't too sure about JJ. I was like, I know he knows X's and O's because hey, he broke down plays with LeBron over part of the summer. He was giving us the breakdowns on First Take and on all the little ESPN platforms he was on. I was like,
Yep.
I don't know, just because you know the game and the plays and stuff, can you actually coach a leader of men? Can you be that guy
Four
that people
games
come
in.
to in the locker room and look at and say, this dude's got us. And damn it, 4 games in, I'm confident that JJ can get us to where we
He's
need to be.
looking good, Jerry. Listen,
Happy.
3-1. The players deserve all the credit in the world, but I think JJ Redick deserves a lot of credit too. I think
This is the
not
same roster, basically. You
Jerry.
added rookies, but it's
You,
basically the same roster. And with Darvin Ham compared to
mhm.
JJ, and things look it's a small service size, but things look
Yep.
way better already.
I
Just
think
saying.
it's just between the play on the floor, but also, off the court, the accountability. Like last night, they lost to the Suns, first loss of the year. And he said, it's on me that we scored 14 points in a quarter. Like that shouldn't happen. That's on me. That's great accountability. And also, like, I'm not trying to take shots at Darden Ham or anyone, but you can tell there's a different vibe. You can tell there's a little bit more respect. Like they work well under JJ Redick. JJ Redick's a little bit maybe more open, to allowing the players, get involved, whatever. And it just seems like a comfortability thing. Maybe they just like JJ Redick more, or they just really didn't like Darvin Ham. But I hey,
Accountability
small
is everything.
sample size, but I really like what JJ Redick's done in LA so far. So
Yeah. I mean, hey, man, like when there's actually motion on offense now. Like, motion, but there's people say they run motion offenses, but then you see guys standing in the corner ball watching their best player,
mhm.
which not to nitpick at the team that I cover in the Charlotte Hornets, but that's Charles Lee has some things to figure out right now because that's what I'm seeing. LaMelo gets the ball and everybody else is just kind of waiting with their hands open, trying to get a hit, get a shot at the ball or whatever. So right now, JJ has guys moving in the right places. Even in that Lakers game, the Lakers Suns game, their first loss of the season, the play that was drawn up was to get Austin Reeves a wide open three off a pin down. Austin got a good look at it. He just missed a shot.
Mhm.
And that was the difference maker in the game. But right now, they're moving really well on offense. They're actually defending at a high level right now. The top 15, top 16, the defensive efficiency, like, yeah, it could be higher. But
And you
we're
know what? You know
rolling.
what helps. You know what helps is when Anthony Davis is averaging 33 points and 12 rebounds a game. That certainly helps to go along with 2.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, 3.5 assists. I'm just making sure I get all the numbers correct here, Jerry.
Sure.
55% from the field, 29% from three, 80% from the free throw line. If you would ask me, I think those are MVP numbers,
Early
especially
on.
for a team leading or having one of the best records in the Western Conference at this point. Small sample size again. We're very early on to the season, but hey, man, the one loss this year that you had is because LeBron James had his lowest field goal percentage scoring game since
Since
2007.
2000.
So
Yeah.
if that's what has to happen for you to lose, I think that's I'd be feeling pretty good. And if Anthony Davis keeps this going, I mean, I hope to God he does because I've said this numerous times in the past on this show, in games that we played, whatever it may be. Anthony Davis is one of the most gifted big men of all time. He just has had a bad bill of health, especially during some years that he probably would have he would have liked back. He would like to be healthy for, but he's in
Sure.
his 30s now. He's healthy. He's the best he's ever been. More mature. He has everything. His skills are fine tuned and everything. And I think if he stays healthy now, we can see a
Yeah,
special season from him. Defensive Player of the
absolutely.
Year considerations, MVP considerations. Like you're a Lakers fan, and I'm kind of sounding like one right now. But I've always been high on
all
Davis, so
all you're doing,
I
all you're
really
doing
do,
is spitting facts. You're
I
spitting.
really do hope that he has, one of those seasons that really just like solidifies him as this is one of the league's best players. He just has to be healthy to see
I
that.
mean, it's kind of like just to add on to that. We talked about coaching to kick this segment off. I mean, this goes right back to it. Darvin Ham was hung up on, I think, still trying to make LeBron the focal point of things, and LeBron said it last year, but the last couple of years now. I'm trying to pass the torch to
He's
this
trying to
dude.
give the keys to Davis.
Like, it's not even so much about LeBron getting his numbers. I get that he shot the lowest percentage, and most of the people watching this videos
You
live,
still
like,
need LeBron to be, a
absolutely,
top guy, absolutely, but he
to
doesn't
still be
have to
him.
be the guy.
That's like, we know moving forward that Anthony Davis is the Lakers' number one option, and it's
100%.
it's
It
been
should have
made
been like this the
abundantly
last
clear.
like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been made abundantly clear that who the number one option is, who the offense is going to play off of, and who it's going to run through. All you got to do is surround AD now with these good players or good shooters. Which, by the way, like JJ's talking about, I want our guys to take a certain amount of threes a game now. That's never really been a goal. I didn't hear that out of Darvin whenever those questions were asked. Where I'm not trying to take shots at Darvin Ham. That's not what I'm here to do. But
No,
with how the offense looks and how the rotations look, which is
it's
also better,
it's hard not to. It's
it's
hard not to take shots. It's a small
it's
sample size. That's a quote.
very
That's the wordage of this episode. But it just seems it's night and day. It really
yeah.
is.
I mean, already I feel more confident about where we might be able to go later on in the season. I get that Darvin Ham also got a bad draw. I'll defend him a little bit in the postseason. Drawing the Denver Nuggets twice is not in
Yeah,
their
that's
best
just
hopes and
tough.
dreams. But
Yeah.
I hope that the Lakers this year, with how they're playing early on, got AD his first win against Sabonis too, by the way.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
I feel,
What did it take him 10, 11 tries or something
yep,
like that?
11. He's 1-10, baby, on the
Hey,
board.
got to start somewhere. It's his turn now. It's his turn to streak.
I just feel good. I feel really good about where the Lakers are at, and title wise. If we can get there come April, we're still healthy. I don't know if we need a trade or not at this particular point in time. Everybody's talking about a third star over the offseason, so I guess let's get your thoughts there real quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
I mean, I definitely think it's something that you always want to be keeping your eyes and your ears, open for. You always want to be out looking to see what stars are available, hearing, who might be becoming available anytime soon, whatever it may be. Starting off this good, I think it's a good thing for some players' values because if you start off the season well, I think that raises the values of some guys like, potentially I know he's a coveted player, but Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, like even if their values go up slightly, that could be the difference of getting I'm just going to throw a Trey Young, right? I'm not saying that's the guy to go out and get, but maybe their value going up slightly is what gets a trade done, and I think you should be open to it. But at the same time, if halfway through the season you're by the trade deadline and this team is top of the West,
I'm
you're
not going to
looking
do it.
good. I wouldn't make a
I'm
yeah.
not
You don't
doing it.
have to make a move. I think
That's
it
right.
really is just depending on how this continues to go, if you continue to play well or not, and how players kind of work with one another.
Because what kills me being on this Lakers ship for as long as I have been, like, we can go back to as early as 2020 after winning the title, and then out of nowhere, a superstar and Russell Westbrook's available, and
Mm-hmm.
you decide to take a stab at it, gutting the team of Caruso, Kuzma, let Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee
Right.
walk. Like, it was just a lot of bad roster decisions that
Bad,
roster
bad,
making
bad
made.
moves.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
really just more so on, you know what? If we're still towards the top of the West, if we're a top 3 team and we have a legit shot to contend, if you're going to make a trade, I don't think it needs to be for Trey Young or Zach LaVine or any of that star
Yeah,
magnitude kind of player.
if you have to make a move, it doesn't have to be for a third star. It can be
Yeah,
for another role player,
more depth.
another shooter,
Yep,
depth. Yeah, that
that's all
might
I'm
just
worried
be all you
about.
need.
Front court help, another shooter, like you said. I think that should be what the Lakers target, not the big market name that could be a boom or bust kind of move. Like, I'm tired of this. Let's just
The
be.
Lakers, I think the Lakers are close enough where they don't have to take a chance on getting a superstar. Where like if they just go after like these smaller name players, like the role players, the shooters and stuff, like
Yeah,
those are the pieces that make you better. Instead of if you go get a star, like yeah, it could lead you to make you a championship contending team, but at the same time, like you're taking the risk of gutting your team and it not working out, and then you're screwed. You're in a worse position than you were before the trade.
absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Now
I'm with.
to.
Hey. Also, shout out to Bronny James and LeBron playing
Oh yeah, for
playing
sure.
together first game of the season. I thought it was very cool of JJ Redick to kind of get it out of the way. You know, obviously it was going to be a talking point for some time, and I feel like it would have been just this cloud over the Lakers of when are they going to play together and all that. So very cool moment.
Yeah, for sure.
I tweeted out like I can't imagine what that feeling must be like for someone like LeBron to be sitting on the
Yeah,
sidelines with him when you're in your early 20s when Bronny's a child to playing with him. So very cool moment.
it's definitely insane.
Bronny, who knows? Bronny hasn't played since, so I'm sure he will. I think he's going to be spending some time in the G League
As he
and
should.
getting his feet wet, which he should. But very cool that we got that out of the way and we
Yeah,
got to
no,
see them on the floor together.
definitely a once in a lifetime kind of thing that I don't know if we'll see it in any other sport. Like for as long as we might be alive, maybe in a sport like baseball potentially, just
We'll
with the
see
longevity
LeBron
of
with
their careers.
Bryce in a few years.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't
We're
count.
gonna
Now he
see.
already did it
We're gonna
once.
see this all over. We're gonna do
If
this
he
all
plays
over
with
again.
both of his sons at that point, I don't even care who else plays with their kids. It's not going to matter. Can you play with
Yeah.
two? Like if that's if that's going to be the bar, it's like nah, man, you're done. But nah,
It was
seriously
cool
though,
seeing Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. there too. That was a sick
yeah,
photo that they took.
it's just that's these are like just moments that are generational moments, not even talents. Like I don't know what Brian is going to become, but this is a generational moment that he got to be a part of that we don't know if we're going to be able to see it again because
Yeah,
people can't even come out of high school anymore. So coming into the league at 18, 19 years old, you got to be a freshman in college and you have to pray for the best. Like Jayson Tatum might have the best shot for deuce or
maybe.
something
Yeah,
like that. Like who knows?
sure.
Like it's kind of crazy.
Yep,
So shout out to the James family. Congratulations to them. That is an amazing feat. But
absolutely.
moving on to the other conference now, which is I when I was making this rundown, I couldn't just put one or two and leave off the other. So I highlighted the three teams at the top of the East right now, which is the Cavs and Celtics, who are sitting at 4-0. The Orlando Magic, who are
Orlando
3-1.
Magic,
Hey.
Orlando Magic. Oh.
So it's amazing what the East what the Eastern Conference is
Sorry,
kind of doing.
I couldn't help myself. One of
We
my
had
favorites, the Orlando Magic TikTok account when they
yep,
post the videos
gotta
post game,
follow it.
it the best,
Gotta
goaded.
follow it. But
Um,
all teams, before I let you dive in, all those yeah, all three of those teams. You
blah,
got me
blah,
in my Orlando Magic limbo mode right now.
blah.
But all three of those teams are top 9 in scoring, 3-point percentage, and points allowed. So these are
Yeah,
obviously two-way focused teams. We talk about the Celtics. I think they have 5 two-way players whenever they're healthy. Cleveland, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, the Twin Towers over there, actually playing like it, playing really
yeah.
well right now. I'm actually a little surprised. Just early on, just from Evan Mobley, not from Jared Allen. But the Orlando Magic, super young, but Wendell Carter looks good. Franz looks good, and obviously their
Paulo
superstar
looks
franchise player.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Looks
hey,
phenomenal.
I'm called like I kind of feel like this is the equivalent of the kid that's on JV but gets moved up to varsity, like his first day of
Mm.
school. I know Paulo's not a rookie. He's a third year player, but he's 21. So I just feel like it's a freshman bullying seniors out on the field or out on the court now.
It's
It's kind of
it's
crazy.
impressive. It's impressive, man. Yeah, just kind of breaking down. We'll start with the Magic because we're talking about Paul. This is the most like recent thing. Dropping 50 against the Pacers. He had 37 in the first half. He's having an unbelievable start to the year.
Yeah,
I think this past offseason he said some things about Wanda. Win a championship, winning MVP and stuff like that, being one of the best players. And we've talked highly of him before. I think he really does have all the tools to be a truly special player in this league. He turns 22
absolutely.
in a week, so happy early birthday, Paulo. He's averaging almost 28 and a half points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 48% from the field so far. Again, just dropped 50 last game. But this Magic team, like they just have you want to talk about a team that has depth. We were talking about the Warriors earlier. this team has depth. They're young, but they have depth. And I think this is the Magic are one of those teams that, you know, I think people are really sleeping on, and I
Yeah.
truly think Orlando is the most underrated team in the Eastern Conference because what separates them from, I'm not comparing them or saying that they're better than or on the same level as, but like a Thunder in the sense of like a young team that has solid depth. That's what the Magic are. They're just a little bit younger than the Thunder, I think, because SGA, the star is 25, Paulo's 21. So, and they have playoff experience. Like, I think the Magic can sustain this. I think they can stay on top of the East throughout the rest of the season if they stay healthy. Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter, like you mentioned, Wagner, they just have a lot of solid players, man. So
Yeah.
I really like what I'm seeing from them early on, for
You know,
sure.
we talked about it last year. I remember when they got off to that hot start. And I was like,
Yes.
well,
Hmm.
they're gonna fall back down to earth, which they did. They ended up finishing like with that 5 or 6 seed or whatever it was.
Right.
Avoided the plane, yeah, but we kind of expected them to kind of taper off. But this year it does
This is
feel
different. They have
really different.
experience this year, dude. And
Yeah.
Paulo, another year under
It,
his belt. I think he's a hard worker. I think he's really
it
worked hard
just
this offseason, and you
at
can
this
see it.
point now, it just feels like, all right, he was an all-star last year. Like you said, they had their playoff experience. So now more seasoned, another year in the
Hmm.
system of actually the expectations now is like, okay, yeah, you made the playoffs. What are you gonna do now? Now you gotta
Right.
go win a series. So I think Paulo, like you mentioned, he said the right things over the offseason that the Magic should win a title this year. Why not them in 2025? Uh, Obviously, we don't think that's gonna happen, but I like the mindset of your franchise player, especially he's basically 22 years old. Like you said, his
Yep.
birthday's in a week, where it's all about
So young.
your number one guy embodying the right kind of things to sound like the LeBrons, the Kobe's, the KD's. Just, dude, I'm a dog and I'm gonna go show you why I'm a killer, like
Yep.
out there on that floor. So I'm really excited to what type of leap he's gonna take because I know it's been 4 games, but I've already seen just the improvement of the game from a passing standpoint, a better rebounder now, understanding spacing even better. I know he's a third year player, he's been in the league for a while, but understanding how to operate and how to move on the floor is so crucial. And when you see guys just kind of develop, I'm no NBA guru or nothing like. I'm not a scout or a trainer, but as a fan, I can kind of just see an eyeball like, dude, he's standing in the better spot just to give more space to Jalen Suggs, who I think hit like 5 threes in the first half of a game or something like that. So
Yeah.
given that appropriate space and understanding, I guarantee I warrant this kind of respect for my game, and this is what it'll do for the rest of my teammates. So he's improving everybody around him. I think Jamal Mosley is doing a fabulous job as well. Just continue to get these guys in order. I feel really good about the Magic. It's like, hey, league pass on a Monday. It was great. It was
The Mat
fantastic.
the Magic is definitely one of my go-to league pass teams early this season for sure. Fun team to watch, just well coached, ton of great young players, and just kind of hopping over to the other Eastern Conference teams we're talking about. I want to
Sure.
save the Celtics for last because I feel like you had your time with the Lakers. I'll have my time with the Celtics. It won't be anything crazy. It won't be anything crazy,
Hey,
but the
hey, you got
Cavaliers.
you got until they're eliminated from playoff
Hey, you said
contention.
it. You said it. I
2020.
have it until they get eliminated. So, but we'll start with the Cavs. 4-0 to start the year, like you said. They're top 9 in both offensive and defensive rating. And not only are they 4-0, but they're winning these games. Like they beat the Raptors by 30, dropping 136. Beat the Wizards by 20, dropping 135. And then you beat the Pistons and you beat the Knicks, who
Bauer.
team that's supposed to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference who, they're having a slower start to the year, but they made a lot of moves in the offseason, got Cat like pretty close to the start. So they're still figuring things out. But, I think we talked about it. The biggest thing for this Cavs team was the leaps that we see from guys like Mobley, guys that we from Garland and stuff like that. I believe Garland last game actually had 30 points. He had a 34-point game against New York, so he had a pretty good outing. Donovan Mitchell has been solid, like we know he is, and Mobley and Allen, who have been solid so far. So that's really the key thing here is when those guys clicking and seeing developments from guys like Mobley because they're top draft picks and they put a lot of stock into them. There's a lot of hype around guys like Mobley and Garland, and they expect them at this point in their careers where the Cavs are to be you know not at the same level as Donovan Mitchell, obviously, but good enough for like he can, he can carry them. They can make this work and make a deep playoff run. One thing I will say, and I'm going to say the same thing to the Celtics. I want to say this so it's fair to both teams. They did play the Washington Wizards and the Detroit Pistons, who are considered two of the worst teams in the league. So, it's like how, when you're playing teams like that, you have good performances, what can you really take from that? But to their benefit, the same thing with the Celtics, they're locked in against those teams. Like when you beat a team like Washington by 20, you're supposed to do that. So they don't take nights off. They keep their foot on the gas pedal, which is something that you want to see. And I think the Cavs are another team that's sustainable to stay at the top of the Eastern Conference. I think as long as they stay healthy, I think they have the depth and they have, it seems like the chemistry is getting better. If Mobley keeps developing, same with Garland, I don't see why they don't finish as a top 4, top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference at the very least.
Yeah, like you said a lot of amazing points, and I'm gonna keep it sweet and short and sweet, very simple. I think just like how we talked about the Lakers and Darvin Ham being out, insert JJ Redick, new coach, new system, things look better. The same thing can be said about the Cavs.
Yep.
You take out JB Bickerstaff, add in Kenny Atkinson, who's fresh off of a silver medal, by the way, with the Olympic run with France and stuff, was helping out offensive schemes and sets to look good in Brooklyn when he was over there. I liked Kenny Atkinson as a head coach. He was the reason why D'Angelo Russell was an all-star.
He's a veteran coach. He knows what he's doing.
He knows how to operate on the offensive side of the ball. He got to sit in Steve Kerr's system, just kind of chilling. Played with Coach Steph Curry a little bit. Coach Klay Thompson was just around all the right stuff, right? Just offensively. So you come to Cleveland, you have a talented backcourt already in Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And arguably Donovan Mitchell could be a top 10 player in the NBA today.
Absolutely.
And when you have that along with Evan Mobley, who's probably still, a project on the offensive side of the ball, but he's figuring out his spots and getting more consistent. Yeah, defensively, though, you have Twin Towers. And that feels good, like just for a new coach, a new voice to walk in. No disrespect to JB Bickerstaff, but when a new voice walks into a room, sometimes that's all you need to turn the switch on. And it's early. Again, we said the title of this episode might as well be Small Sample Size.
Small Sample Size, yeah.
It's only 4 games, but when things just look like it's more responsive on offense, mainly, which was the Lakers' problem and Cleveland's problem, because it's very much Donovan and Darius, go be our GOAT. And that's just like what it was for the Lakers, too. LeBron and AD save us, but everybody's getting touches. There's about 3-4 swing passes to the corners or to the high post, and things just look like it's easier to operate and execute. I love good basketball. Again, I repeat, League Pass on a Monday? Like, hey, man, it was great hoops. It's October 29th, October 28th. It might as well have been my birthday. I got to watch Monday Night Football, the World Series, and a lot of good NBA basketball.
Sports Equinox.
I love the end of October. But
it's the best time for sports, baby. Got the quad box on YouTube TV, like you said earlier.
It was phenomenal. Enough about my Monday night, even though it was great, and y'all can't compete. Time for Dante to have the floor, and I'll just get my 2 cents in before you go crazy. The Boston Celtics are the Boston Celtics, man. I know we made a video over the summer whenever the NBA GM survey came out, and the Celtics had an 83% chance to repeat. Just it's very large, but at the same time, if I'm an NBA GM and I look at my roster compared to Boston's, I'm like, damn.
I'd vote for them too.
I probably would. I mean, dude, it's crazy. Yeah. I can't stress this enough. And they're not even healthy yet. And they're dismantling.
That's the biggest thing, for sure.
When you add Kristaps in early January or late December, whenever he's projected to come back, I don't know how teams are going to skate by. Like, you have to just bring your A game to beat Boston, which you mentioned how they beat Detroit just like how the Cavs did. Detroit actually put Boston on the brink.
Yeah. They put them on. They had them. They almost had them at the end of the game. They had them sweating.
You see some chinks in the armor from time to time. Then at the same time, it's just Tatum just, whatever, time to play. It's like, the gamer chair, right? You lean up real quick and it's like, let's put him out.
It's like, all right, we gave him enough faith, enough hope.
That's just the type of switch that Boston is capable of every single night. And they're probably the best 3-point shooting team in the league. They're going to finish top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency, probably.
Maybe all
Three-point
time,
percentage.
like
Right.
off, like because that's a record that every single year
Every
some team
single
is
year.
topping. Yeah,
Like, I don't know. Like, Boston leaves me at a loss for words when I just watch them play. And I'm going to get to see them here in Charlotte on Friday and Saturday in back-to-back games. So,
oh, back to back. Oh, no shit.
yeah,
All
it's going
right.
to be great. But the floor is yours. I just needed to say that Boston is it's like fighting a boss on a game. For you Dragon Ball Z fans, it's like fighting Broly. If like it's just impossible, man. Like it's like the dream team essentially, just a little watered down. Two-way players all over the lineup with shooters coming off the bench. What is this? Good luck. That's all. Just good luck, man. Like damn.
Just hearing everything that you had to say just makes me feel so good on the inside. And I just want to, before I get started, like I'm gonna like I've been seeing a lot of, after game one, a lot of people on Twitter, different fan base and stuff, of people saying, how dominant the Celtics are and how scared they are. So I feel like I'm not super biased in saying what I'm about to say. So and what I'm about to say, I'm going to try to remove my Celtics fandom and try to be unbiased. This
Nah, I
is
don't
what
care.
I'm seeing. This
Keep
is
it.
what I'm seeing from Boston, Jerry. It's just dominance. I mean, it feels it's a surreal feeling because like Celtics won in '08. I've been a basketball fan my whole life, but like last year's championship was truly like the first one that I got to experience, and I felt like was my first championship. And for years, just like them building up and just like every single year, just some sort of shortcoming, some sort of obstacle that they can't get by, and they finally reach the big one. And for years, like I'm watching the Bucks last night, it's like we were trying to chase the Bucks for years, like we don't have enough to beat Milwaukee, and now it's like it's flipped. And man, does that feel good. We got guys like Nick Wright that are saying that they need to change the rules when a few months ago people were saying we had the easiest path to a championship, and now we're too good that we need to change some rules. That's a really cool feeling. And one thing that I noticed from Boston that, and I said about Cleveland too, so again, I'm being fair with this, is they're locked in every game. Like, especially for a championship team, you hear of, they have the championship hangover. They have slow starts or whatever. They get the feeling, and then they're like, all right, we can kind of chill out a little bit, wait for the postseason, then we can get it started. Like, they come out and, they had a 30-point lead over New York opening night. And I get it. I said it earlier. New York made a lot of moves. They still have a lot of things to work on. But to beat the team that have the second best odds to win the championship, best team that people are saying to beat the Celtics, most likely beat the Celtics, to beat them by over 20 on opening night, that's a statement. And then, along the way, beat the Washington, beat Pistons, who made them sweat. But, like you said, it's just one of those, like, they flipped the switch, cruised the rest of the way. And then even Milwaukee, they were down at halftime, and then they ended up winning by 11 points at the end. They were up by almost 20. You're getting
Peyton Pritchard game, man.
Jerry, he's the fourth leading scorer on the team right now. He's averaging 16 points a game. You're getting contributions from everyone. Tatum, I'm not going to get into Tatum and Brown. We know what they are. Tatum is having Anthony Davis is early MVP candidate. Jayson Tatum is doing some disgusting things on the basketball court, and his jump shot is fixed, everyone. So
It's the revenge tour, baby.
just so you know. And Sam Hauser's only played one game this year. We're missing arguably our best shooter, and Kristaps isn't playing until end of December, early January. So it's like we haven't seen a team this dominant since the Golden State Warriors, since the KD Warriors, I believe. And
you see what you said though? You said the KD Warriors. Like
I'm not saying they are better.
No.
I don't think we've seen a team in the NBA
I'm not
better.
going there. I'm not going there. Where I'm going is that we were so pissed off when the Warriors were in their dominant run because it was KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond. But
that's true. I get it.
It just feels a little more. It feels more authentic. I'm not trying to take a shot at the Warriors here, but I kind of am. It feels more authentic.
This feels
how the Celtics did it. It's Tatum and Brown. They don't work. Oh, they're not going to work. And now they're the focal point and the centerpieces of this whole damn thing. Like, hey, shout out to the Boston Celtics.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I mean, I get it. You're a non-Celtics fan. Like, you see this, and it's like, fuck, man. Like, how can we compete with that? Like, I don't feel bad because I've had to deal with this shit for years, and I've been waiting for this to happen. I've been waiting for this my whole life. A team like
when you're a fan, you're not going to feel bad about it.
No, I don't give a fuck about how people feel if they're upset about the Celtics being good. I don't care, dude. Listen, this team right now, I'm just going to be the last thing I'm going to say. As crazy as it sounds, this team is better than last year's team. I don't think there's a team in the NBA that can beat them in a 7-game series. Small sample size. If injuries, like no injuries are not involved, no one's hurt, everyone's healthy, I don't think there's a team in the NBA that is even close to the Celtics right now.
96 Bulls in 6. Damn it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a long season. 82 games, are only 4 in, but I what we've seen from those 4 games is it's special. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
you'll have the rest of the season to to gloat about your Boston Celtics, as I'm sure they continue to sit. Stop clapping your hands, damn it! As they sit at the top of the East, whatever. But okay, enough about how great the Boston Celtics is. Let's talk about
how shitty.
Yes, the Denver Nuggets
have
been in. Yeah, it's been
tough, Jerry. It's a tough look. Tough look.
We had an episode of where we talked. I just need to renege on a former statement that I said in one of these past episodes about contenders. I felt like that Jokic's greatness might have been enough to push them to where they needed to be. And it's again the title of this episode. Small sample size. It very much is.
Sample size.
We're not looking at a lot, 3 or 4 games, but the Nuggets have struggled. And outside of Nikola Jokic, I don't know who can consistently
they do not look good.
They literally Jokic said it too that, dude, there's not a ton of shooters on this team.
No one can shoot.
We got Jamal and MPJ. The rest of us are streaky. I'm paraphrasing, but it's kind of crazy when my best player knows that, hey, man, we didn't do anything to improve the roster. I just need to go back to what I was saying before, I think in a one-on-one conversation between us off air, where these championship teams, when they win, I think of the 2021 Bucks and the 2023 Nuggets. They win a title, and they're on this mountaintop, obviously, as they should be. They deserve it. They went through an 82-game grind and then had to win 16 games to get to the Larry O'Brien. The next season, you should come back and reload. You should come back and try to add pieces or at least keep things in place. Instead, the Nuggets let Bruce Brown walk, along with Jeff Green. They come back, lose in 7 games against the Timberwolves in the second round of the playoffs. This offseason, they lose KCP. You lose another shooter. You're expecting Christian Brown, I think, or whatever. And
Brown, yeah.
Peyton Watson and other guys to step up for you on your squad. But, dude, this is a sport. If you stay the same kind of output is going to be produced. If you get worse and still think you can stay the same and not add anything,
right,
you are going to be a less fortunate NBA team. This is what the Nuggets did. They did not do well in the offseason to try to get better, to catch up with the Timberwolves, who now we could say are possibly better than them despite losing Karl Anthony Towns, or OKC. Can they beat the Lakers? Can they beat the Lakers in 5 again? Who knows? They lost too much over the last 2-3 years where I'm just kind of looking at them with a lot of question marks right now. So I'm a little out on the Nuggets right now. Do you think their window's shut at this point in time, though?
I mean, as much as all right, I've said at the beginning of the season, on this episode off air, whatever, that as long as the Nuggets have Jokic, I think they're going to be a good regular season team. And when the playoffs come around, then we can start to question their depth and how far they can go. Yes. I still believe that Jokic is a good enough player where as long as he's there, I think the Nuggets are always going to be a team to talk about and to consider. But yeah, man, I mean, this isn't the same team that won a championship 2 years ago. I mean, obviously you mentioned all of the departures that they had, but not even that. It's just like you're losing guys, but it doesn't seem like you've gotten much improvements out of anyone else but Jokic. It's like a team like, I'll say a team like the Celtics, right? Like this past offseason, they didn't get anyone. They didn't lose anyone, but you can count on them to get better. That's your addition this offseason, essentially, is just getting better. The Nuggets don't have that. Jamal isn't getting worse, but he has a higher 3-point percentage this season than field goal percentage. He's not getting better or worse. It's just, what you're getting out of him. And I think at this point, what you're getting out of him isn't good enough. So it's you're not replacing the players that you're losing out on with role players or whatever. you're trusting these guys that you've had for a while to step up, or like these younger guys, and that doesn't always work. Like Jamal's good, and when the playoffs come around, he steps up, but like I don't know if that's enough anymore, especially as the West gets better and stuff like that. Like teams like Minnesota, you mentioned OKC, like, and there's numerous other teams that we can go on and on about. Um, I don't think the Nuggets are the team, like, they're not a team that other teams fear anymore, like they did a few years ago. Like they can fear Jokic, but like when you win a championship, teams try to figure out how to beat you. Like they see the blueprints, like, okay, that's the team that we're trying to beat. They allowed teams to catch up to them, and they didn't do anything to defend themselves. And now they're trying to play catch up. And
Yeah.
Teams like OKC, Boston, or whoever. I think that they'll still be competitive again because of Jokic, but I mean, especially Westbrook not working out, like a lot of things that you were hoping were going to work out. Again, small sample size. We're 3 games in, but like what they were counting on to work isn't working so far. So will it flip? Will it flip? I don't know, but right now it's not looking great.
You mentioned Westbrook, and that is another point I kind of glossed over. I'm trying to give him some grace because
I am too, man. I mean, I think he's new team, new system, new role, everything. It's tough to adjust.
but he
I
can't
think
shoot the ball,
he can't shoot.
and that's
I think that's the biggest thing is that's the role that he's kind of being put into. And I'm not saying like they're not letting Russ be Russ or anything
no,
like that, but it's
he's not
just
capable.
it's kind of on both of them where it's like I mean this is just going back. I'm not trying to attack Russ, but as his game has aged and stuff, like he never really started to develop a jumper to make up for his athleticism getting worse. And I think that's kind of the area that we're in now where he's not as athletic as he once was and his jump shot just isn't there. So it's like how
Like
do we utilize him?
I want everybody to take a walk down memory lane and just remember where this transition happened, where we don't look at the point guard position as traditionally as we once used to, right? Where I think Russ was an ultra talent. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to go there. We can
Yes,
just get that out of the
100%.
way.
Mm-hmm.
But when the game transitioned to these guards needing to be 3-point shooters over being a critical playmaker, that's what you have to be able to do to extend your career and add some longevity. And I think
Right.
of Russ being a prime example of that, but think about Ray John Rondo, who was the man in the 2010s still was damn near a triple double guy. And then come
Absolutely.
2020 for the Lakers run, he shoots the best I think he did in the postseason ever from
Yep.
three, which was huge for him to actually be a major piece and stay on the court. Because if he couldn't shoot, you couldn't be out there with LeBron and AD. That's
Right.
how it worked. But afterwards, in the regular season, he just faded out. Like 2021, 2022, no, Rondo's in Cleveland. Rondo's in Atlanta. Oh, he's not in the league anymore. And I think of also Ricky Rubio, another guy
Right.
who never had an effective 3-point shot. And eventually, like, shout out to him. I know he had some, mental
Mental.
problems
Right.
and stuff like that. And I'm glad he's hooping in his home country and stuff like that now. But that's part of the reason why he didn't get another NBA contract. He wasn't the best 3-point shooter. Russ is literally in the same phase of figuring out if I'm still relevant or not, or how valuable is my athleticism, and I hope he figures it out. Again, title of the episode, small sample size.
Everyone
Maybe
take a shot for every time we say that this episode.
yes,
You're hammered.
yeah.
You're hammered at this point.
I don't mind. Like, please do. But I'm very concerned about his fit on this team, and I even seen reports earlier that some scouts and executives are saying the Nuggets should
They
cut.
should cut him.
And I'm like, dude, my heart would sink because that would mean the end of Russell
I
Westbrook.
think if he gets cut, I think that means
Over.
his career is
It's
his
over.
NBA career is done. Yeah.
Yeah. So figure it
Yeah,
out,
dude.
Russ. Get in the gym. I don't know. Please, I want you to stay in the NBA because that 2010s era is shutting, and it's reminding me that I'm getting closer to
We're getting
30.
old.
Yes.
I hate that. Yeah, man. I mean, I hope the best for Russ in that situation. But again, not Denver isn't looking great right now. It's early, but they're 1-2. The only win that they've had this season was an overtime win over Toronto, and they needed a 40-point performance from Jokic to win that game. So they are in an interesting spot right now. We'll see. Maybe they make a move or two throughout the season to make up for that lack of depth. But it's definitely a team to watch, and not for good reasons. That's for sure. So
Yeah. Nah, that's the episode, man. There's a lot going on. I know there's a lot we can get to, guys, but there's obviously a lot of NBA games that happen on a daily. I'm sure
we're gonna
we'll get to
have
your favorite
we're gonna
NBA.
have videos throughout the week. We're
Yes.
going to be pushing out more long form content for you guys, more in depth videos and stuff where we kind of cover things happening. We record this on Tuesdays, come out on Friday, so sometimes things can be a little outdated. So we're going to focus on making videos, making sure that they come out when things are trendy, things are actually happening, so we're not too late to the game. So keep your eye out for that. But yeah, Jerry, do you have anything else you want to add before we head out here?
For one side, I don't, man.
You're speechless. You have
Yeah, I'm
no
speechless.
words.
I
No
think I
words.
think the start of the NBA season in full swing now. I'm excited to see where teams go and how they
Mm-hmm.
continue to progress. So shout out to Paulo and Orlando Magic, though. That's like at the top of
Orlando
mind for me
Magic.
right now. They look really
Orlando
good,
Magic.
and I think Paulo could be an All NBA teamer this season. So
Absolutely.
feeling good.
Yeah. Shout out to the NBA being back. It's this is the best time of the year. End of October. All sports are on right now. World Series, football, NBA, hockey. It's great. Shout out to the New York Patriots beating the New York Jets. We're still. It's okay. I want the number one pick, but it was a good win against the sorry ass Jets team. Drake May got a concussion that game, so speedy recovery to him. But
Please don't
yeah,
talk about the Jets. I would explode right now. Not a Jets fan, but I'm tired of it.
shout out to the Patriots. That's all I'll say
Yes.
there.
Shout
And
out to
shout
the
out to
Tech.
you guys for tuning in to episode 61 of Sitting Courtside. Like always, we appreciate your support. Please make sure to like, subscribe if you're here on YouTube. Check out our gamified content in the shorts column if you would like to check that out. If you're an audio only listener, we appreciate your support. Please make sure to give us a 5-star review rating, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the deal. You've been here for 61 episodes. Hopefully, you stick around for the next 61 as well. And until next week, peace out.
Woohoo!